So, like any great YouTuber, I guess I have to get the obligatory story time out of the way because, well, aren't those all so great?
And then he literally is like, no, yeah, like, he's telling everyone that he literally took his toothbrush from his bathroom counter, put it in your vagina, and fucked you with it.
Isn't YouTube just a wonderful platform? What the fucking hell?
Vagina.
So, anyways, I don't really have a story that, well, is as crazy as somebody fucking me in the vagina with a toothbrush, but I think I got some pretty amusing stories. Definitely, yeah, definitely not on whatever the fuck level that was, or yeah, I don't know. Okay. I guess we should get into it then. So my story actually starts out around sometime last year. It actually happened around, I'm going to say around November. And, well, actually, it happened around the time Blade Runner 2049 came out. I believe it was probably that weekend, maybe the Saturday. And the reason I mentioned Blade Runner 2049 is because, well, I went to go see it in theaters, and well, part of my story happens in that theater. So, anyways, I go to the theater alone because I'm a fucking creep, and I go in there and get there pretty early. Walk in, nobody's there. I'm like, oh, I could have this whole theater to myself, but. Yeah, I actually didn't. I waited for about like 4 minutes, and I thought I was pretty good with that. But nope, like two couples walked in, and I was like, shit. And the one guy waved at me, and I was like, oh, hi, yeah, rub it in, yeah, whatever. And so, anyways, I'm thinking, okay, well, not too bad. And then previews start up, and watching those, having a pretty good time with that. Lots of interesting movies are seeming to come out soon in the future, and this old couple walks in, and nothing out of the ordinary with them, but just all probably in their mid to probably early 70s, maybe in that range somewhere. Early to mid 70s, I guess. And so they decide to sit like directly one row behind me. And I was like, oh, okay, well, nothing out of the ordinary there. They're just sitting down, whatever. And so, nothing out of the ordinary happens. Everything seems fine for about, I would say the first hour or so of the movie, and I'm enjoying it. I'm getting sucked in, to the plot. And then all of a sudden, I during the film, I moved my feet across the floor, because I was just repositioning them, and I hear something wet, and I'm like, what the fuck? The floor is wet, and I look down. I'm like, I can barely see. It's dark. I'm like, shit. So I make one more little noise and made a squeaking sound. I'm like, yep, it's wet. So I'm just curious. I'm like, I probably fucking dropped my drink or spilled something. Didn't even notice it. And I look over down at my drink real quick, and it's perfectly fine. I don't see anything out of the ordinary with that. And I'm like, what? Well, that doesn't make sense. And I look down more carefully, trying not to make a scene, and I noticed that, yes, there is liquid, but it didn't really come anywhere from my area, because it was like dripping down, because the theater was kind of like on a slope. And I noticed, it was sliding down from the row behind me. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, it's them, no big deal. They probably just spilled something. And I don't want to be too obvious about it, so I'm like, well, I kind of want to know what happened behind me. Obviously, it was the older couple behind me. And so I try and make a nonchalant look behind me, um, and I look behind me, and they're both passed out. They were sleeping, and I was like, "Oh, okay, better opportunity to assess the situation without, being too much of a creeper." And I look at his drink, and they both have drinks, and they both seem to be intact. And I was like, "Huh, that's strange. Could it be coming further up behind me? In one of the higher rows?" And I was like, I don't know. I don't think so." So I look down, and it's kind of hard to see because of the lighting, but I I eventually look down at his crotch, and I'm like, "Oh, wait. Oh, okay. No, he pissed himself. I'm pretty sure he did because there's a huge wet mark in his crotch area, and it was leaking down his pants, creating a puddle, and it was just basically going down, the whole entire rows, and I was getting pretty much a lot of the blunt of it because the two other couples that came in and sat down, they're basically on the sides, so they weren't getting any of it. It was pretty much all this was happening in the center, and I I was like, I didn't want to make a scene, so I was like, oh shit, kind of want to move, so I got up as quietly as I could. Small theater, only a couple people in there, so a little bit easier to make a scene. So I get up, trying not to make these squeaking noises with this fucking piss on my shoes. So I'm just going about trying to move over a couple seats, and obviously the old people don't give a fuck. They're passed out. So I move over, and I just started to get a little bothered because I'm like, well, I should probably tell somebody about this, maybe a manager or something, But at the same time, like, if I would tell somebody, it'd probably cause a bigger scene, So I'm like, okay, well, I'll just wait, finish the movie, and I don't know. I guess I'll let somebody know, not to embarrass the poor old couple too much, especially the poor old guy. So I'm like just waiting through the whole entire movie, and basically that one little happenstance just fucking wrecked my movie going experience because all I can start thinking about is tell what the fuck I'm gonna say to the manager or somebody in charge. Like, okay, should I tell them that somebody pissed on the floor or somebody spilled a drink and just not let them know that it's exactly piss? I don't know. So this whole thing's going through my mind, and I'm not really paying attention to the fucking plot of the movie. And in a way, I guess it was more entertaining to think about how the hell I was gonna tell somebody about this. But anyways, so the movie ends. Pretty good payoff at the end, and everyone's getting up. Of course, the old couple in the back isn't. They're not getting up, and I was like, "Huh, maybe I should wake them up, or maybe they should just figure it out by themselves. I don't know." So I'm like, I'd just rather not deal with it and have any more issues. So I'm just going to stick with my original plan. So I get up, and I notice there's a little bit more piss than before going across the aisleways. And yeah, so anyways, I get out, and it was kind of weird because, like, usually after a movie session in a theater, they have people waiting to clean it up. And I just thought of it then going out, and I was like, oh, I'll just tell them then. But they didn't. I guess they weren't ready or taking their time. I don't know what was happening. They just weren't out there. And I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to tell somebody, or I don't know. I guess I'll eventually figure it out, but maybe just tell them exactly so maybe they can clean it a bit more thoroughly, I guess. And, go out into the lobby trying to look for somebody. Of course, this was like a late showing, so didn't really see too many people. I noticed at the concession stand, the like back door to it was open and a light was on. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe the manager is in there. Just maybe at least somebody I could tell. I go up to it and, I'm just like waiting patiently for them to come out, not trying to be a jerk. And then I'm waiting for like 2 minutes. I'm like, probably should say something. And I'm like, hello, anybody in there? And, a guy comes out. He's like, oh, yeah, sorry, what can I help you with? And I'm like, well, I just came out of Blade Runner 2049, and the couple behind me, they're an older couple, and fell asleep, and I guess the older guy kind of pissed himself, and he's like, oh, well, is it bad? I'm like, I don't know. It's kind of hard to see. The only reason I knew is because it leaked down to me, and I moved my shoes, and it made noise, and he's like, oh, okay, well, I guess we'll check it out. And yeah, I was like, yeah, but I don't know if they're still in there or not, because the last time, when the movie ended, we all got up and it seemed like they were still sleeping. He's like, oh, okay, all right. And so he just left, and I suppose he got a mop bucket. I'm not really sure. I just wanted to get the fuck home and change my fucking shoes, because who the hell knows what he drank that day. But yeah, that was probably, out of all the movie experience I had, that was probably the worst. I guess I'm fortunate enough to say that that's really the only bad movie going experience that I've had. And yeah, old man pissed in my shoes. So I'm sure I'm not the only one this has happened to. I think I've maybe heard something similar to this. And yeah. So anyways, yeah. Fun story, huh? Yeah. Anyways, if you guys want, maybe I could tell more stories. I got a couple more in the tank that I could probably tell. Anyways, like, share, comment, if you want. Maybe I'll do more of these videos if you want me to. Okay. Have a good one, everybody. Bye.